Hello, everybody. I am here again with Deez to talk about more FNaF stuff. Specifically, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which released on October 27th of last year. Do you have any beginning things to say?
This movie took like a bunch of years to make, and then it finally came out. A lot of people were not happy.
That is true. There's a lot of not happy with this movie, and I agree with some and I disagree with some also. Like I have my stuff that some people complain about that I think they're kind of overreacting, but there really is some things that I don't like about the movie at all. Do you wanna start off with something interesting that you have, or like any specific examples? We can be here for a while, so.
All right. So, the most common criticism of the movie is poor pacing, poor scares, pretty much poor everything. Now, when it came to general positives, the atmosphere and set design people genuinely liked. And yes, that is true. They are very good. So, I just looked this up. On Rotten Tomatoes, the consensus reads, loaded with Easter eggs, Five Nights at Freddy's may be fun to watch for fans of the game, but most viewers will find this adaptation muddled and decidedly unscary. It was genuinely criticized for not being scary. What do you think about that?
I think that the original script for the movie was a lot better for the scares. Um, but I also am one of those people that genuinely doesn't find gore that scary. So, if you weren't aware, the original draft for the movie contained like Bonnie smashing one of the guys' heads in with his guitar, like like a lot more gory action, which I think would have probably been a positive to the movie. But I don't necessarily think that Five Nights at Freddy's is a series that kind of lives through its gore. It lives through more like the concept of what you can't see. And I think that the scene with I think his name was Hank in the closet dying, I think that was interesting. But the death of his son, the one with the cupcake, I think that that was really bad. I think that they over relied on the cupcake too much, and it made the movie seem a lot more silly than scary in that regard, at least. I do agree that the movie was not scary. I was not unsettled even once throughout the whole movie.
I was only unsettled because I was like a little bit unsettled once. And that was I really liked the atmosphere in Mike's dream sequences when he falls asleep and he's in like that weird forest. I think that forest is a great atmosphere and I generally found it maybe just a little bit spooky, like 5% spooky.
I think that that was probably the scariest part of the movie if we're going to rank it like that. I do think so. Um, I want to talk about for a second the pacing. I agree that the pacing was a bit fast. Um, I find it interesting that they did the whole they actually did 5 nights. Um, I think that during the course of the 5 nights they could have had a little more interaction with Mike and the animatronics specifically, but I do enjoy the dynamic of Abby and Mike a lot over the course of the movie. I do think that the runtime was a little too short for what they were trying to fit in, but I do think that it is okay. I think that the runtime and the pacing of it doesn't take away too much from the overall experience of the movie.
Mike doesn't spend time with the animatronics once at all, like by himself. Like he's always with other people when he's around the animatronics, and I don't like that because I want him to like judge like for himself. Like I don't need a random police officer coming by and is given a random lore drop.
Yeah,
That
I
is something.
really did not like that part of the movie when Vanessa came by and was like, "Oh yeah, the kids went missing," and then Mike literally says out loud, "So ghost kids haunting giant robots?" Like that is really just it's kind of on the same league as in Security Breach when it's like Gregory's up top in the rafters of Phaser Blast and he's like, "There's a room up here that says Vanny," and Freddy's like, "That sounds very similar to Vanessa and Bunny. That cannot be a coincidence." Like, it is just the most like spelled out thing for the little 5-year-olds that won't understand and are watching this movie. And it's like they could have revealed it in so many better ways that I don't know. It's kind of it was just silly more than anything.
I do. I think the book, uh, the the um the novelization of the book pretty much makes Mike like a theorist. That is something Matt Pat pointed out before he retired.
Mhm.
That Mike basically Mike is basically a theorist, so he connects clues in his brain, and I think that works a lot better than just Vanessa coming by and constantly yapping about stuff that Mike probably doesn't care about, and he only cares about getting his paycheck.
Yeah, I gotta say, there was two parts of the movie that I specifically really didn't like. And the first one was just Vanessa in general. I don't like her as a character,
I
and I think that her motivations are really flawed. They did not give her any good reason to be good and bad because it really you can't tell throughout the movie. And then with the book really pushing it in that she seems to be a robot because of like the eye color changes in the book and everything and her like robotic nature. The movie should if that was their intention, the movie should have shown that more rather than her just looking like the acting was really bad. Because Vanessa did not seem like a very well acted character, and the book explains that. And I am tired of FNaF books having to explain the reasoning for everything. And I gotta say, show don't tell is a big thing, and the book is just spoon feeding us stuff. And the other aspect that I really didn't like in the movie was how they handled spring locks and how they explained them, because that doll that they showed, um, was just a really stupid way of showing the spring locks because it's basically these 4 pieces of metal, or sorry, 6 pieces of metal that are held back that don't make any sense at all. Like I feel like they could have done a more deep dive into how spring locks work. And of course, they weren't written into the script initially, which is probably why they seem like they were rushed in afterward. But they really spring locks are such a huge part of the FNAF series that they really should not have just thrown them in because the William Afton spring lock scene is really bad. And I feel bad because it's like it's interesting to see like how they pierce him and then his blood comes out, but the games where we couldn't even really see him as a person honestly handled it better, where they go off and you just see him just like stick his arms out and just explode into blood. That works better in my opinion for horror, and the whole description that he gave in the book could have been transcripted over to the movie, with Vanessa maybe explaining it in the same way that he did in the book. You know, like your lungs will fill with your own blood and you'll drown in it, like that. That could have been really cool in the movie if they had like a springlock suit that they were showing with like spring locks and everything, but it just doesn't happen, and it's a really disappointing part of the movie in my opinion.
I didn't hate the spring lock scene. I actually think it was shot really well. Or okay, maybe not really well, but like shot well. And part of me likes part of me somewhat likes the idea of the Springlocks going off one at a time, because I kind of think that's a good way of building tension. But like in execution, it's really poorly done, and like all of them going off at the same time, like what you seen Free, would have been so much better.
And I also have to say, they never show off that there's spring locks in the arms or legs or head of the suit. They only show the 6 that are in the torso, and I don't like that because for people that haven't seen the series at all, they would have no idea that you're completely trapped. And I do not like that the head that William wears is completely disconnected from the body. And I understand that he had to take it off, but even if there was like a clip or something, or he had it on when the spring lock started to go off, it would have been much better. Again, they really needed to explain spring locks much better before they could try to give you that like hook end at the moment where you're supposed to be like, oh my god, it's happening, I'm seeing it. Like, it doesn't feel like that because it's just like, oh, he got stabbed 6 times in the tummy and it hurt. Like, that's all it feels like.
The head coming off, like the head being removable, that's literally only because they have to show you that it's Shaggy,
Yeah, that it's
and it's like, oh my. Also, I haven't heard a single other person say this, but I am really, really confused on why they think we didn't know that Matthew Lillard, aka Steve Raglan, aka William Afton, was William Afton. Like they try and do that whole reveal, but when it was revealed that Matthew Lillard was cast, it literally said he was playing William Afton, and then they just changed it.
I think the
So like,
assumption
what the
was that
heck?
people weren't looking at that, and while I did know, I was expecting them to have some sort of build up that still made me feel like it was deserved. But Steve Raglan being William Afton really doesn't have any build up because there is like no characters in the movie. So there's like no other suspects for who it could be other than the guy that specifically put Mike there and was surprised to see his name. And William Afton was a character that was only introduced at the tail end of the movie, with Vanessa all of a sudden just deciding to tell Mike that her father's name was William Afton. And I don't understand, why did he change his name to begin with? Because if no one knows that he committed the murders, then why would he change his name? I don't understand it, because people still acknowledge that he's the owner of the place, or at least they should know. So why would they not know his name? I don't fully understand the explanation for him being William, and I really don't think that the reveal was handled that well.
Maybe it's because he was still considered a suspect. I don't know. Yeah, that was really poorly done. I guess since we're talking about characters, we can talk about my least favorite part of the movie, Vanessa.
Yeah,
I hated Vanessa.
yeah, I agree.
Vanessa is literally the worst police officer ever. She comes by, yaps for a little bit, and then Mike is like forced to take his daughter to the pizzeria, and then Vanessa, and then like they build the fort, like whatever, and then Vanessa gets mad at him and then threatens to shoot Mike if he ever brings Abby back. Huh?
Obviously, you can
Weren't you guys
understand.
just
Yeah, no, you can understand later that the reasoning that she didn't want them going back is because she could tell that the animatronics wanted to make her one of them. But I find it really ridiculous that she was like, if
then
you ever
why
come
didn't
back here again, I'll shoot you. What is that? That is such a bad line, and the delivery of it was even worse. It was like
if
terrible.
if she doesn't want if she doesn't want Mike to bring Abby back, why didn't she just tell him not to bring Abby back? Like Mike tells her about himself, and I'm and it's I'm pretty sure if you were telling someone about yourself, you would tell them that you have siblings, especially younger siblings. So why wouldn't Vanessa just say, "Don't bring your daughter here. It's very dangerous." And then she can give like a random warning, and then she leaves, and then Mike would like piece stuff together. That would have been so much
Yeah,
better.
like a scene where he actually thought about it. And I even would have been okay with her being like, oh, you saw how they played together? Well, they want to play together forever or something like that. You know what I mean? Something like that. Literally anything would be better than, if you ever bring her back here again, I'll shoot you. Like that. There's no reason for her to say that from beforehand. And like, oh, Abby strummed Bonnie's guitar and for some reason that made her explode. Like, I don't. It's really weird.
I think the funniest character of the movie is Doug the lawyer.
Absolutely. We stand
Doug the
Doug.
lawyer. Every time he appears on screen, he looks like he just made an accident in his pants,
Yeah,
and it's so funny.
he is such a good character. And honestly, like the first printings of the book ruined him, which I don't really want to go into because it's kind of a weird situation with the adaptation of the book. Um, but Doug is such a great
Scott
character.
Scott said that I'm pretty sure Scott said that he essentially submitted the wrong version and he was gonna fix it. So yeah, but we probably shouldn't get into that. That is really weird.
Yeah, that
I
I
guess
don't know.
since they're both in, I guess since Doug isn't okay, edit that out. I guess since him and Doug are in the same scene, MatPat, aka Ness, that was cool to see.
Yeah, I I thought that it was I thought, I'll be honest, the that's just a theory though. That was a little too on the nose. I would have respected if he just like said something. It seemed really forced. And I would have been fine if that was like the only moment in the movie that felt really forced. But honestly, a lot of the lines from the characters felt like they just had to try so hard, and that's how you could tell that it wasn't written the best. And obviously Scott Cawthon is not a movie writer. He's a game developer and like a father. He's not This isn't his full-time job. He hasn't been doing this forever. It's his first movie, and for the most part he did a good job. But like, wow, some of the lines are really bad. That's
Yeah,
just a theory. Seeing MatPat was
a game
awesome.
theory.
That was really
Awesome
cool.
theory.
The Markiplier in the beginning of the movie would have been really cool too. Like, instead of the random security guard, if
But
it was Markiplier, that would have been awesome. But oh well.
but Mark, I mean Markiplier was offered the role, but he had to turn it down because he was filming his own
Yeah, he
movie.
was filming Iron Lung at the time. Hopefully, he's in the second one. He'll probably be in the second one. So that's cool.
I I I actually liked Corey Kenshin's cameo. I kind of
Yeah,
thought that part was
I thought that
funny.
that was good. I mean, I didn't have any problems with it as the taxi driver. Although I will say the scene with the taxi, that was kind of bad because there is not a taxi driver that would look at that giant golden animatronic and think, "Oh yeah, it's just a cosplayer or something like that." That is really weird.
I'd run.
Yeah, so I think anyone would. Although it wasn't so bad. Um
I like Mike. I thought Mike was a good
Oh, yeah,
character.
Josh Hutcherson did an amazing job as Mike. It was really, really good.
Oh, I guess speaking of performances, I thought some of the performances were pretty good. I
Yeah,
have very mixed feelings on I have very mixed feelings on Vanessa's
I thought Abby was
performance.
okay. There was one line from Abby that I
That
specifically
was
really
that
did not like. And that was when he was getting mauled by the cupcake near the end of the movie. And she goes like, Mike!
Oh,
That that was really bad. But from I mean, I don't know how old she is, what, 10? 12 maybe at the most. It was fine. It wasn't
But
awful.
I want to use their names because they're their own people. Piper Rubio. We can all agree Max had the best death.
She did, absolutely. That bite was really, really cool to see. I mean, it was weird, but it was cool. And I gotta bring up the fact, isn't it Vanessa the one that like cleans up all the bodies and like brings them to the basement? Is that Vanessa doing that? Because I'm pretty sure it is.
I honestly don't remember.
Because it's never shown who brings all the bodies down there, but it just it's really weird to me that like Vanessa is like William's like lackey, and yet she's just okay with like doing all this stuff, but yet she's trying to protect Mike and Abby for some reason. I don't know. It's weird. Another issue with her character, unsurprisingly.
I liked Matthew Lillard. He was cool.
He did an amazing job. I mean,
Oh,
he wasn't in the movie that much, but what he did do was really, really good.
how'd you feel about that scene of Mike beating up that guy in the fountain?
I thought it was cool. I mean, it was embarrassing, and I behave really bad with embarrassment in movies. Like, I get secondhand embarrassment extremely bad, but overall, I thought that I mean, it worked, and it was a good introduction to like Mike's character. So, yeah, it was fine.
I like I like that the movie referenced Sparky the dog. I like how it
Agreed.
referenced Baby.
When did it reference Baby?
Actually, no.
Or I guess the doll
actually, now
thing, maybe.
that
I guess I didn't think about that.
I
Also,
kind of just assumed that was Baby.
yeah, I
Probably
guess I
not
didn't think about it. It
Baby.
would make sense though. Michael's younger sister trying to get put into a animatronic similar to Baby. Yeah, that makes sense. Chica's
Yeah,
rainbow at the ice cream parlor.
yeah.
Obviously, there was a ton more
I
Easter
guess
eggs.
we could
The movie is full of Easter eggs, but oh,
I
another
guess we
point.
could talk
I want
about
to
the animatronic now.
No, hold on. Well, I guess yeah, this is an animatronic. I want to bring this up because I'm really curious about your thoughts on it. What do you think about Torture Freddy?
Hmm. I think the design is pretty cool.
Why does it exist?
I That's exactly what I was thinking of. Why does Torture Freddy exist when the animatronics kill people, not for Torture Freddy? Like, why? What circumstances do you have to use Torture Freddy? If you're a night guard, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. That's kind of unfair. That's discrimination, and I don't appreciate that. But like, I kind of just don't understand the point. I mean, I like how it looks, but like, why does it move so slow? I don't understand that. The
My
fact that it moves so slow is literally just a plot contrivance. It's literally just a way for Mike to live.
Yeah, no. I think the
It's literally just
only the
a way
only
to
thing I
live
can
kind of
think that it could be is in like if in the second or third movie they reveal that it's like a remnant extractor or something like that, and then that's their explanation is like William is trying to experiment with remnant or something. That would kind of make sense. Like I would get that. But as of the first movie, it makes no sense, and it's not like, listen, here's my opinion on the matter. You need some sort of reason for it to exist or some sort of explanation, even if you're going to give a better explanation later. Like in Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, the scooper existed because it was dismantling the animatronics, and then they used it to scoop Michael, which made it relevant to the story and made it okay to have. And then Pizzeria Simulator added on to that with a blueprint saying, oh yeah, this is a remnant injector, and it slightly changed the design, but it's still, it's the same thing, the same idea, and it adds on to it. Torture Freddy could have been something similar. It's like, oh yeah, William Afton's crooked mind designed this horrible device to kill people because he's a cruel man. And then in the second movie, it's revealed, oh, actually, he was experimenting on people the whole time. That was his plan. That would be better. But the fact that there is no explanation and it's one of the first things you see in the movie is really weird.
Exactly. I guess since we're talking about animatronics, I thought the animatronics, they looked amazing.
They are great. I love them.
Considering that considering they were built by Jim Henson's Creature Shop, and I thought this was a little funny, but because the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the animatronics and puppets were made by Jim Henson's Creature Shop, and Jim Henson did not really like it that much because he thought the movie was too dark.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just picturing what he would think of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
I gotta say, the animatronic designs were really, really good. The only thing that I didn't like, and I don't know if this is like a necessary thing they had to do to fit the actors inside the suits, but there was the one thing I thought was really weird is that the arms are really long. Like the arms look really weird. Like I feel like the hands land way too low on the animatronics bodies for it to look like actual animatronics, and I'm sure that there was some good reason for it, but it looks really strange to me. And honestly, the only shots where they look strange are the shots where the animatronics have their arms at their sides, so it's not that big of a deal, but I do really like them.
Yeah, the only animatronic that didn't have a suit performer was Foxy.
Oh, speaking of Foxy, the tape on the back of his head holding the eye patch on, which is a reference to the first game not having anything modeled behind his head, that is perfect. I love that.
That was cool. I don't know, Bonnie giving the thumbs up. That was funny.
A lot of people didn't like that, which is, I honestly, I understand it because the animatronics literally earlier in the movie were murdering people. But assuming that they were under the control of Afton at that point somehow, it kind of makes sense that they would just like the thumbs up scene. It was funny, it was comedic, and that's what they were going for in the moment. So I think it's okay.
Yeah, people are literally just like, why are they building forts? This is stupid. And my defense for that is they are literal children. They are children. They're going to do childish things. Also, William Afton just possesses them whenever he feels like it.
Which is really weird, and it's not
So,
explained very well, but whatever.
yeah, I do not like the whole possession thing.
I don't know. I gotta say, in the books, the Silver Eyes trilogy specifically, I think it's John who gets injected in the heart with Remnant, and then he gets to like interact with the children and like try to put their memories back together. Um, that is interesting, and I kind of like the way it was done, but I also don't, because I feel like it goes way too hard into like the science-y kind of aspect of it. But I gotta say, in the movie, Abby just putting a drawing up that makes the children instantly turn against William, that was kind of strange, but also for the end of the movie, they had to obviously make the animatronics turn on him. So, I don't know. I just don't like that in the
Gordon and
games.
Freddy.
In the games, the animatronics were attacking because they were just confused children, and also Michael looks kind of like William, so that's probably another reason. But in FNaF 2 specifically, it's shown that all the animatronics start to go haywire when they see someone using a golden suit, because it's obviously familiar to them. But I find it strange that they're just kind of like okay with Spring Bonnie being there in the movie. It's weird. I don't know. And it's not bad. It's just it's confusing, and I don't understand it.
Golden Freddy's entire existence in the movie makes me really mad because he doesn't do anything and he doesn't serve a purpose. He's really just there for people to be like, "Oh my God, it's Golden Freddy with the Springtrap sauce,"
Yeah, I gotta
and
say,
like,
Golden Freddy in the movie, I didn't like. Uh, I don't know if you remember during that one scene in the office where all the lights are going crazy. The mirror has "It's me" written on it, and from the games, "It's
yeah,
me" was always an iconic saying. But later on, we were pretty much like we can assume that the "It's me" is the crying child trying to contact Michael through Golden Freddy and say, "Hey, it's me. I'm here. I'm your brother. I'm, you know, like here." And in the movie, it doesn't make any sense because who's saying "it's me"?
exactly. Like, it's not like there's no evidence to show that Golden Freddy is Mike's younger brother that was kidnapped
Yeah, no,
by
he straight up isn't
Matthew.
because the kid inside Golden Freddy is this blonde kid. So he is not Gabe at all.
Well, it has pretty much been proven that there's multiple souls inside of Golden Freddy, so maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I think that the teaser at the end of the movie, the whole "come find me" thing, read in the "save them" voice, I think that that is kind of leading up to Gabe being the puppet because he was the first one murdered. But obviously, it might not be like that. But you can see from the Jim Henson's Creature Shop posts that they are making the toy animatronics right now. So, assuming that the toy animatronics exist, the puppet will probably exist, and my guess is that Gabe is the puppet.
Oh my God, I just realized something we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about the cupcake.
I don't like it personally.
The movie is obsessed with the cupcake. I am willing to bet that you take the screen time of all the other animatronics, add it together, and the cupcake will probably have more screen time than all of those. It is ridiculous how much they use the cupcake. Chica bending over to put the cupcake like in the vent so it can chase. It's so stupid.
It
And the
is.
fact that the cupcake just switch into creative mode whenever it wants
It just
is
starts flying.
ridiculous.
Who possesses the cupcake?
Also, are we supposed to assume the cupcake is jumping? How is it jumping?
I guess with its mouth hinge, it is jumping, but it just flies. It just flies.
Cupcake just goes boom.
Doom doom
And I'm like,
doom doom
what?
doom 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 doom
happened?
doom doom doom. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I
just
did like that they included Foxy humming. That was
yeah,
cool.
that
That
was
was a cool
cool. I
detail.
liked that. I thought that there's a lot of good Easter eggs and stuff that made the movie worth it for a fan of the series to watch. But for anyone else, I can see why they wouldn't like it. I can understand why.
Oh, speaking of music, the fact that they play the song in the end credits, I really
Yes.
enjoyed.
Dude, that was so cool. I got goosebumps in the theater, dude. The let's be honest though, the best song in the movie is the opening song.
Oh, I wanted to talk about the opening, but I forgot. The opening with like all the pixel art and then the song, it's really cool.
It's really, really, really good. Like I remember, I got goosebumps, I got shivers, I had everything after the 8-year wait for the movie, just to have like that awesome song and like, I don't know, it was such a good moment. You know what I mean? Like just like it was just a good moment.
I kind of wish I saw it in theaters. I didn't. I saw it on Peacock.
Yeah, no, I went
So,
to the theater with a few of my friends and saw it. I made a whole video about it. I totally forgot about that. Go watch that if you want. It's kind of old, but whatever. I don't know. I just like
okay.
watching the movie. at the theater was definitely a better experience than I think it would have been watching it at home. I've watched the movie 2 times since um it released, since I saw it in the theater. I watched it once with my sister, and then I watched it again with my entire family. So um my family's general opinion was that it was pretty good. So that's kind of how I feel about the movie as well.
Wait, I have to rant about this real quick.
All right, go ahead.
I bought, or I pre-ordered the movie on 4K Blu-ray, and I have it right here. Like as I'm speaking, I'm holding it.
I'm
The
actually here.
fact
I
that it
can I can look across my room and I can see it on my shelf right now. I also have it. It's sitting right next to my copy of the Mario movie.
the fact that it only has 3 special features is BS. I am so mad about that. Five Nights at Freddy's from game to screen, killer animatronics, and Five Nights and 3 dimensions. I kind of wanted to see more stuff.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
absolutely agree.
but
Um
I guess the fact that I am holding the FNaF movie in my hands right now is it's good enough. It's cool.
it is really cool. I'll admit. I think just having the movie and like being able to say this is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I waited 8 years for this is a really cool thing. But I also have to say that the special features, I agree, there's not enough of them. They could have made like a 3-hour documentary on the movie and how they made it, but they didn't, which is fine. I'm not mad.
I would
I
have
just
loved
it
a
could have
track with
done with
Scott
some
Cawthon.
more. Sorry?
I would have loved a commentary track with Scott Cawthon.
Yeah, anything with him. He really wasn't involved that much with like he was there, but like I mean, I'm sure he was involved with the movie, but like any like publicity stuff, he wasn't really involved with it that much. Like the YouTubers got to take a picture with him, and that was pretty much it, honestly.
Yeah, he was one of the free writers, and I think he was one of the producers. Let me check.
I mean, he must have been. Like he had to stand there and watch the whole movie get made. That was he probably did that.
Yeah, was one of the 2 producers, and he was one of 3 people who wrote it.
That's fun. I don't know. He did a good job. I think for a movie, it's good. It's just like obviously as we've talked about through this video, which the recording is now 40 minutes. Um, the movie's really good. It has a lot of good things, and I'll admit it has a lot of bad things. There's a lot of problems with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and I think that everyone can attest to that. I don't think that there's a single person out there, unless they got into the series really, really late, that could tell you that it is perfect. I started playing the series and getting into it shortly after the second game came out. Um, and I think a lot of the people that started getting into it around the time of like Help Wanted and Security Breach could probably agree that the movie, they would probably think it's better, but as someone who's been around and has seen how the series achieved its horror back before it got like mainstream, I do think that it could have been better for that aspect. For horror, it could have been way better, but for like appealing to the fans and being a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I don't think it could have done much better.
I personally think the movie ended up the way it did, with just like the rush and just being like, oh my god, people are gonna like actually kill us if we delay this anymore. So let's just go. Let's just release it. So I feel like that impacted a lot, and I hope 2 doesn't fall into that same fate, because I'm excited for 2.
I think the second movie is going to be a lot better than the first, and I remember the rumors shortly after the first one came out that were talking about how, oh, it's going to release in December of 2024. No, It's releasing in 2025, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But the 2 years, or sorry, the 1 year and like, no, 2 years, my bad. 2 years and like a couple months. I hope that that's enough to really make the movie perfect. And I really hope that it's scary.
I better get some goosebumps. I better get possessed by R.L. Stein watching it, and I better go like, "Oh, I'm spooked. The puppet is so spooky, and the toy animatronics are not scary." I'm just gonna say it. Toy animatronics aren't scary.
No, they're not really, but
It
they
has to
could
be
be.
said.
Toy Freddy's probably the scariest one. Either that or Mangle, but I don't know if you count Mangle.
I hate Mangle.
Mangle's kind of cool. I think that Toy Freddy with his black eyes is kind of scary, but other than that, no. The toy animatronics are not that scary at all.
They better include a bunch of music box on like the soundtrack and stuff.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Anyways, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I think I gave a pretty good spiel at the end there of exactly how I view the movie. I think its legacy is gonna carry on pretty well. Other than that, I don't have that much more to say, I'll be honest. You?
So, nah, not really. I gave it I give the movie a 7 out of 10.
I
I
give it.
enjoyed it.
I give it. I agree. Actually, you know what? I was gonna say 6.5, but I think 7 is fair. It's good.
It's good, but it could have been a lot better.
Could have been a lot better.
Final review.
Could have been a lot worse too. Let's be honest. Could have been a lot worse. Yeah. So that was our thoughts on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. The recording is almost 45 minutes long. We're gonna see how long this is when I edit it down, because there's quite a few parts that I have to edit out of this, but you know, that's how it is with anything. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, Deez, for joining me on this adventure that we just had. We've been planning this for a while, actually.
That was me. These nuts, that is.
Deez knows that is, of course. Finally, after so long. How long ago was it that I introduced you to this channel? Like, months ago? The freaking the work stories video, the tier list video. Yeah, after all this time, finally just let out the D's nuts. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sure that the people have been waiting for that for forever. Anyway, thanks for watching.
I planned on doing that tier list video, but I forgot. Anyway,
Subscribe. Yes, actually do that now. Click the button. If you're still here, click the button. If you're not still here, click the button. Click the subscribe button, because I'm trying to hit 300 by the end of 2024. And I might honestly have to move it up to 400, but we'll get there when we get there. Subscribe, make that number go up. I really do appreciate it. Join my Discord server. We can talk about this more. Deez is also there, I think. So, you know, we can interact with Deez, my guy. Anyway, thank you. Subscribe and bye.